In these Ask the Expert videos, I'm answering questions about some of the most interesting gold sovereigns ever issued. In this edition, we're looking at a very important sovereign from the 20th century, the Queen Elizabeth II 1957 sovereign. The 1957 sovereign is the very first gold sovereign of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. But her reign had begun 5 years earlier, and her first circulating coinage had appeared in 1953. Why didn't the first sovereign appear until 1957? Well, let's consider the history of gold sovereigns and monarchs' coronations. The modern sovereign was first struck by King George III in 1817. His successor, George IV, had sovereigns produced in his coronation year, as did his successor, William IV, and then Queen Victoria, King Edward VII, and King George V. In fact, from the year the first modern sovereign appeared, all the monarchs up to King George V had sovereigns produced in their coronation year. But then, during the reign of George V, and in 1931, Britain left the gold standard, and things changed. King George VI, who was crowned in 1937, had only one issue of gold sovereigns made in his name. That was for his coronation in 1937, and only 5,501 gold sovereigns were minted especially for collectors. This makes him the rarest gold sovereign monarch in the 200 years of the sovereign's history. But then when Queen Elizabeth II was crowned in 1953, no sovereign was produced. A new monarch without a sovereign. This hadn't happened in the 200 years of the modern sovereign. Her coronation didn't trigger the minting of a sovereign, and that's because the coins were being minted independently of the monarch's reigns. Forgers in the Middle East were faking gold sovereigns to meet incredible demand, so it wasn't until 1957 that the government decided to begin minting sovereigns again and to get rid of the fake sovereigns by allowing a supply of good, new, high-quality, genuine sovereigns into the gold market. Now, since then, Her Majesty's reign has become the most remarkable in British history, and so too are her sovereigns. There have been more designs on the sovereign in her reign, and more denominations, than in the reigns of any other monarch before her. This coin is the first gold sovereign of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, but is there something else that makes it even more special? I'll answer that question in the next segment.